Alright, everybody. Thank you for waiting for this video. I'm sorry for the hold that I did. I understand this was supposed to be posted yesterday. I just had a lot going on, and I haven't really gotten to the point where I can get all these videos lined up and just waiting to be posted. But that's the plan here, that I'm going to go ahead and get everything lined up. But alright, so this is what we're going to go ahead and do, is break into these CPNs. What is a CPN? Now, I want y'all to know everything I'm sharing here. This is all for educational purposes only. I do not create CPNs. I do not build. I don't know nothing about CPNs. I'm just saying what's possible out here, alright? I'm not influencing nobody to do this. Just use this information for your own knowledge, alright? So now, a CPN, this is a credit profile number. Your CPN credit profile number is basically a 9-digit number, just like a social security number. It's just this number was not issued by the government, all right? We're getting these numbers, we're generating these numbers, and making it match the government format, all right? So to match the government format, the first 3 of the number represent the state. The middle 2 really just represent like the age, and basically, and the last 4 is just a randomized last 4 digits, all right? Now I have a way of checking these numbers. We're going to get a little bit further into it, but I'm just going to go ahead and break down exactly where these people get these numbers from. All right, so you can always head on over to stevemorris.org, and then you have the 3-digit decoder. So you'll basically select the state. It's going to give you an option of between 2 numbers. For example, it'll say like 550 between 550 and 580, and then whatever number between those 2 numbers will be the first 3 digits. Then you select your second 2, and then you go ahead and create your own last 4. And so what you'll go ahead and do is actually take that over to SSN verified website. And if you see the options here, the bad option right there is what you don't want to see. You see how it says first year issued, last year issued, location, all this different valid. You don't want to see that, all right? That means it's already been most likely associated with someone. Now, where you see good, you see how there's a lack of information there, but at the very bottom it says valid. May have been issued after June 25th, 2011. All right, so this is not guaranteeing that the number is good, but it's saying, okay, if it was issued after this date. So I'm going to go ahead and show you by the means of understanding if that number has been issued. Once you do the whole process of doing the tri-merging, which I'm going to go ahead and show in a second, but once you do the tri-merging and then get the public records and everything going, you actually go ahead and you sign up for credit monitoring. So whether you go to Credit Karma, you go to Credit Sesame, whatever platform you use, what's going to happen is you're going to go ahead and fill it. So I just say Credit Sesame. Let's say you go to Credit Sesame. You fill in the information. It's primarily going to ask you for the last 4 digits of that social. All right, the last 4 digits when you're putting the initial application through. If it opens up and it asks you security questions, those security questions, y'all, means you're basically getting put through. All right. Now, if it denies the application off rip and it says, oh, enter entire social, 9 times out of 10 is because that's taken. All right, so we're going to throw that number away and you're going to start over again with everything brand new. All right, so get on, how can this work? This works because data is the most valuable thing to companies. This can be manipulated, though, because you can go ahead and insert your own data. All right, so build identity by filing for applications that report to all 3 bureaus. Every piece of information will be shared, so it is very important to be consistent with your information: name, address, date of birth, social, job, and income. All right, you want this to stay consistent, also as well as that phone number and email, yo. I cannot stress that enough there. That phone number and that email needs to stay consistent within all applications. Once you stay consistent with all your information on all applications you put through, what's going to go ahead and happen is those, for example, you'll go to Capital One, Venture One. You're going to go ahead and apply for the card. Not pre-qualify, but you're going to apply for the Venture One card, all right? After you apply, it's going to go ahead and force through a hard inquiry. Then you're going to go ahead and go to Discover, look for the Discover It cashback. Once again, you're going to apply for the card. Not a pre-approval, not pre-qualification, but you're going to actually go through the actual application process, so that what it does is it's going to go ahead and actually hit a hard inquiry on the credit report. But that hard inquiry is going to go ahead and use that information you use on the application to update it on that profile. All right, so this is very good, useful knowledge for fresh blank profiles, as well as profiles that, let's say, you just no longer have access to it. You had an old phone number on there, you had an old email in there, you don't have the phone number or email no more. But what you can do is you can do this process right here again. So go ahead and do your applications with the Venture One, with the Discover, and it's going to forcefully push through that application, but with the phone number and email, address, name, everything that you put on the application, it's going to share that with the credit bureaus, all right? And that's what y'all want. You want it to share it with Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, so that those credit bureaus can update that information on their reports. All right, so once you go ahead and do the tri-merging process, that last process was tri-merging, you're going to go ahead and move on to public records. Now, y'all, this is the most important part that I cannot stress enough, only because people lack the understanding on how important public records are. And public records are very important, especially in 2026 now, y'all. Public records are very important because the public records is going to go ahead and share that driver's license information and all that personal information, so that when you're doing not only credit applications but opening up bank accounts, they're going to go ahead and look into the public records and see, like, hold on, is this person new? Have they been around? Like, what's going on here? So public records can be a list of many things. So first, you're going to go ahead and actually go to all the different places that report. So we can go to Check Systems, LexisNexis, SageStream, all those different places, and fill out a application or a form, or opt-in, opt-out, whatever the option is on those sites. You're going to go ahead and fill that information and share it with those agencies, and then they're going to go ahead and fill in that information for the public records, as well as going over to the next screen, here's just a list of some examples of public records. So you can sign up for store cards, Walmart, Best Buy, Target, Kohl's, 7-Eleven. These are just some examples now. There's many more. And we definitely recommend y'all to do at least, when you're first getting started, you're not going to be able to do everything in one single day. But let's say, or even if you don't want to pay somebody, because I recommend paying somebody. But let's say you don't want to pay someone and you want to do this all yourself. Do around like 50 different applications a day. Now, that's if you really care about getting this going somewhere. If you don't want to get nowhere with your CPN and you want to be lazy and only put 5 applications, by all means, go ahead. But if you really want to get somewhere, you want this credit profile number to be recognized fast, you do as much applications as possible, right? So you get the store cards, you got the travel cards, American Airlines, JetBlue, Enterprise, Avis, different apps, food accounts, directories. These are very important because you need to sign up for 401, Yellow Pages, list yourself, just so that they can share that information as well. And then I definitely really like signing up for job recruiter apps, such as Indeed, ZipRecruiter, LinkedIn, or even applying for a CDL school. And I like these here because they share data a lot as well. And people definitely don't even realize how much these social media accounts share data. I can't even stress that one there. You guys should know about Facebook and Instagram. They're stealing data left and right. But Twitter, YouTube, all that information, everything here is sharing data. It's taking your data, sharing it, taking your data, sharing it. Whenever you see those little terms and conditions talking about, oh, do you accept to privacy and conditions, it's because they're sharing your data, all right? So moving on to primaries versus authorized users. So once again, it is 2026, so things have gotten more advanced now. You can't really just attach a whole bunch of authorized users to a profile and expect it to do something. But now that authorized user accounts, not saying they don't help, because the age of them does help. If you come across authorized user profiles, such as, well, I can't say authorized user profile, but let's say you have a mother or aunt or grandma or grandpa, somebody has a credit card, or maybe even a friend, and they had that credit card for 2 to 5 years, and they pay 100% on time, they keep the utilization under 10%. Be like, hey, let me give you $100. Let me add me to your credit card so they can help boost my credit. Simple, something so simple like that. You don't have to pay them. If it's your friends and family, they'll do it for free. But if it's a stranger, you find somebody online, however it is, you do it. You just pay them a little bit of money. They add you to their credit card account. They add you as a user to the account. So you're not going to receive a card. You're not going to be able to spend the limit. None of that stuff. But whatever is reflecting on that report there for that account is going to go ahead and reflect onto your report as well. All right, so primary trade lines is an account reporting to that person as the owner. So example, you open up a credit card at Capital One, and it's reporting you as the owner. It's very straightforward. And then authorized user is a person being added as a user onto someone else's profile. Example, you don't have to have, or you don't have access to the account, but you're a user, so its data will help reflect onto yours. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share a good primary trade line that I very much recommend. And it's Gauss. This app right here is deadly, y'all, like very much deadly. You get yourself a blank profile, or even a profile that isn't blank. It's going to go ahead and do a major boost. So, and it also reports to the credit bureaus within 1 to 3 business days. Now, when I say this is fast, y'all, this is fast. So those blank profiles that y'all have that you want to tap on a score on there instantly, this is going to take you to like a 630, 650 plus beyond that, all right? So you're going to go ahead and be able to use that credit score that it gives you to go ahead and actually apply for credit. So for example, just earlier today, a blank profile that I had, I connected the Gauss to it. The report hit. Once the report hit, I went, applied for Capital One. Now, boom, they approved instantly for a $2,000 credit limit with Capital One. Card being sent out. Everything is just going smoothly. And that's just because Gauss reported this account onto the credit report. And now the credit report is showing it has a 680 credit score. And that 680 credit score was able to get us approved for a $2,000 limit with the Capital One card. Now, here's some plays that can be done with CPNs. And now this is more of like short term. Now, the cars and the rentals is long term. But phones, credit cards, y'all could really genuinely get phones and credit cards open up within a week, 2 weeks. Now, if you want to age it and go through that whole process and take your time and do one public record a day, just like I was just mentioning before, it's going to take time, all right? But if you actually sit down and you put the work in, I'm telling y'all, you're going to see results. You will see results, all right? So with the phones, you can do many things. You can take a blank score, set up a phone company, buy a phone, bring your own phone, right? So like, let's say you already have a 17 Pro Max and it's unlocked, right? Or even if you don't have one unlocked, but it's locked to a specific carrier, you can use that phone with that carrier majority of the time. So for example, like I like T-Mobile. You get a T-Mobile locked phone. Let's say it's yours. You already have it. You just connect the IMEI, get an eSIM, set up a whole account, report the phone, use the account now for 3 to 5 days. And what people do is they report the phone missing, lost, whatever it is. And then they get a replacement device. And then they want you to mail back the original one in, but you don't have to do all that. You don't do that. They're just going to hit you with a little fee, like $200, $300 fee. So like in actuality, let's say if you do pay that fee, you're spending $300 to $400 on a brand new iPhone. All right. Now, we don't pay that fee, y'all. So there's no point of doing that. You're only paying that initial $99, and then you get a brand new phone. And then your original phone, you can keep using it, sell it, whatever it is you want to do. Then credit cards, y'all, as I just mentioned, that profile I just mentioned that got the 680 credit score from the Goss app, I was able to get a $2,000 credit card limit. Now, what I'm going to do with that $2,000 credit card limit, y'all, is I'm not going to use that card whatsoever. It's a blank CPN. I'm going to use that specific profile to show y'all exactly how it's going to build and how it's going to grow and where it's going to go from that $2,000 limit. I'm not going to use a $2,000 limit. We're just using that to help age the profile. So now a $2,000 Capital One card is going to go ahead and report to the profile there. And I can even add on other profiles to that as authorized users to help boost their credit. All right, so this is like a dangerous like Monopoly type of game, y'all, because once you have the ball rolling, it does not stop. It only stops if you stop it. All right. And then cars and rentals, y'all, these are the next two popular things. So cars, people getting cars off the lot. You can walk into the dealership, get auto loans before you even go in there. But Carvana, CarMax, these are very popular places people do with CPNs. But you could even go to small little buy here, pay here places with your CPN as well. Just make sure you have all the necessary proper documentation when it comes to driver's license, social, whatever it is you need to prove, what you need to prove. They're going to want to see the bank statements or your income, all that different stuff. Same thing with the rental properties, y'all. We can actually backdate rental history. By backdating rental history, it'll show your trustworthiness with renting apartments or renting homes, whatever it is that you're trying to get into, so that when you go ahead and apply for rentals, we can get people approved, no issue whatsoever. That's probably one of the easiest things is being applied for apartments. All you would need to do is just handle the down payment and all that stuff on your end. All right, so personal versus business credit. So this is where things get a little bit critical because these same profiles can go ahead and open up businesses underneath them and establish business credit, all right? Because those business accounts will use a personal guarantor. That personal guarantor, basically how that works is it's a fresh business. Business has no credit whatsoever. So it's going to go ahead and use the personal credit that is coming from basically the owner of the business, whoever is filing and doing the applications with the business. That main user of that, the owner, the main user, whatever you want to call it, is going to go ahead and use that person's credit profile as a personal guarantor. So, for example, I just have here personal credit would approve it for $5,000, but that same person can start and open a business, and at the same bank, they will give you a business with $10,000 just because it's a business line of credit. Same $5,000, they expect you to only use 10% of it. Meanwhile, that business credit card is expected to use the full 100% because it would be for investment rather than splurging. All right, so if you have a business account, let's just make it very simple in understanding. That personal credit card, let's say, okay, I just use the Capital One, for example, the $2,000 limit. If I go ahead and register a business with that same profile and get everything set up, and I go apply for a Capital One credit card, they're going to most likely give me $5,000 to $10,000 rather than the $2,000. And then the $2,000, I could only use $200 of it without it really hurting my credit report. I can use more, but like I'm saying, I'm trying to keep it 10% or less. Use $200 of the $2,000 and without it hurting the credit. Now, if you use that full $2,000, it's going to show that you're using 100% of that credit card, and then it's going to report that to the agency. So if that one credit card is your only credit card, on your credit report, it's going to be showing utilization 100%. You don't want this because it's going to go ahead and report negatively, basically. You don't want any credit cards reporting 100% when it comes to the personal side. Unless you're going to go ahead and crash it out and you don't want to pay for it or whatever it is you plan on doing. If you need a quick come up and that $2,000 is all you could dream of, by all means, do whatever you do. But the whole purpose of this, y'all, is to long-term set up and establish long-term goals with this, all right? So don't get me wrong, I've been there, I've done that, all right? I've had situations where I needed fast money and I could build multiple profiles and I could show y'all some damage, but I'm not in that moment where I need to sit around and build profiles to crash them out. We're building these profiles to actually build them for long-term purposes, y'all, so that we can establish these businesses. And within I can guarantee no more than 9 months, but I say 6 to 9 month period, I can guarantee at least $100K in credit off of one profile. And that's as long as you follow all the steps, you do everything as you need to do, and you actually put in the work in, all right? With these profiles also, investments do need to be done, but it's all right because at the end of the day, when you're making these investments, they come back tenfold. All right, y'all? So I hope the information that I did provide with all these CPNs has been enough information. Oh, what am I doing? Hold on. Let me not mess up the show here. But I hope everything has been helpful. I just wanted to make sure there's no more slides. I do have a community going. Everything is being hosted and ran on Telegram currently. As I mentioned, I'm going to go ahead and transition over to Discord later on. But right now, we're running and handling everything specifically on Telegram. So we have the channel, and then we have the group chat. Please pay attention to it, just because like this video here, I gave a poll. I let the community decide what they wanted to see, and everybody decided they wanted to see this video here, so I had to make this video, make sure I provided all the best necessary information for y'all, without saying too much, because at the end of the day, this is all for educational purposes only. I'm not recommending anybody to do this. I'm not teaching or telling anyone to do this. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not any of that. I'm just letting people know what's possible and what can be done out here. All right, so I do hope this video was very well informed. As I did mention, I won't be able to share every last bit of details, but if y'all join the community, feel free to ask me questions inside the community or inside the group chat, and I'm always here. I'm always going to answer. If I don't reply right away, just give me some time. I'm going to reply eventually. But once again, I do thank y'all for watching. I appreciate it, and I hope y'all stay tuned with the channel and all the content that's going to be on the way. God bless, brother.